A very good afternoon to you all. Thank you for joining us for the UBC Weekly News Roundup edition of the Lunchtime News. This is the bulletin that brings you the top stories that made news from within the week. So do sit tight. It's going to be an hour's long. And without further ado, let's get into the top news from this week. Gaya Primary School grounds was packed to full capacity as thousands of people from West Nile and beyond gathered to celebrate Peace Day in Yumbe district. After peace deals were signed with 3 different rebel groups 23 years ago. Let's take a look.
Boma grounds in Yumbe district has been filled to capacity as West Nile has gathered to celebrate the 3rd annual Peace Day. The day, which reflects on the achievements of the 23-year-old peace agreement between government of Uganda and former warlords of Uganda National Rescue Front, has attracted, among others, leaders and peacemakers.
For me, I'm very happy that I'm part of this, and I've been remembered by the people of Yumbe.
We want to thank His Excellency for being a peace lover. We want to thank His Excellency for being a father for this nation.
For security, this is the evidence. If you see Yumbe, Aringa, and West Nile developing like this, you can be shocked. We used to light grass to deliver women in the health facilities. But let me tell you, today you have electricity.
By the time of peace processes, General Karekahura was the then a military assistant to the president and one tasked to oversee the silence of the gun.
We were assigned by the president, me and well, basically, Lieutenant Colonel Nasuru, the late Aziru Izaruku, and me, I was in support role.
The job, according to General Karekahura, was a process which started in 1998, and to him, it was not an easy assignment.
And it took us 4 years. We didn't think it would take that long. But you see, there were so many factors, there were so many actors, so many, you know. I'm sure when Colonel Nasuru initiated it, he thought it would not take less than, it would take at most it would be like a year.
We are here for peace. We are here to celebrate the security and peace put in place as a result of that peace agreement.
Kahura further notes that although the community holds some level of calm in the peace process, many thought it was a waste of time.
Because whenever I would come almost every week in those 4 years, every month. So these businessmen in Arua town would laugh at me and say, look at that man. Oh, poor him. Will he ever get Babuze to come?
It is exciting to see that 23 years down the road, peace has prevailed in West Nile sub-region.
The rebels would come and they would tie my stuff and take away my medicines. They would loot the solar panels where we kept our vaccines for the refrigerators. It was tough.
Back from where we came from 23 years ago, there is no university at that time. That time there was only one university, Makerere University. Now we have a government university in West Nile.
Initially West Nile was not accessible, but apparently with the peace that has been ushered in, West Nile is very accessible.
For the sons and daughters of West Nile, the return of peace has not only given comfort to the communities, but rather accelerated development.
So the history of West Nile, for those who might want to know, is that before the NRA government came, the population of West Nile were all in DRC Congo and South Sudan because of the history of this country. But when NRM government came with the appeasement policy that the president issued, negotiations started with the rebel groups that were fighting the area, and the rebels started coming back home. The population started coming back home from exile.
So I want to appeal to the greater people of West Nile. Let this be a turning point for all of us to transform our people through education, skilling, and entrepreneurship of our people.
I remember we would be woken up early in the morning by sounds of gunshots. From West Nile bank front, I was told there was another group of Bamuze. So we had so many factions here that were disturbing the peace of this region. As we speak now, the region is peaceful.
As the region commemorates this anniversary, Office of the Prime Minister is equally excited to have been part of this journey.
Under the wise guidance and great mobilization skills of Prime Minister Right Honorable Nabanja Robina, we have traversed and moved to the various supported groups that you see here, and we are not stopping here. We are not only looking at the past, we are looking at even the present.
Robert Onyango, UBC News.
And furthermore, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni responded to recent criticisms from the opposition lawmakers regarding the allocation of classified funds to members of parliament, while raising concerns about foreign financial influence in Uganda's domestic affairs. The remarks, issued in a statement, coincided with the 45th anniversary of the fall of Idi Amin's regime. Museveni's statement targeted opposition MPs led by Mohamed Kivumbi, who recently criticized the alleged allocation of 100 million shillings in classified funds to legislators. The president dismissed the criticism as hypocritical, contrasting it with what he called the patriotism of historical NRM fighters who fought for 17 years without pay to liberate Uganda. The president sharply turned his focus to foreign influence, accusing the opposition of ignoring what he described as foreign-backed efforts to destabilize Uganda. He singled out U.S. funding for LGBTQ plus advocacy, citing a speech by U.S. Congressman Andy Barr, who criticized the Biden administration for allocating $6 million to support Uganda's LGBTQ plus community while penalizing the country over its anti-homosexuality law. President Museveni condemned such foreign grants as corrupt and treasonous, questioning why opposition MPs had not denounced them. And furthermore, the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, Mrs. Janet Museveni, received a delegation from Western University, Canada, to discuss strengthening collaborations and exploring new opportunities for academic research, partnerships, and more. The 6-member Western University team paid a courtesy call on the First Lady at State House, Nakasero.
The First Lady welcomed the delegation to Uganda and highlighting the strong historical and academic ties between Uganda and Western University, particularly in health and infectious disease research. She lauded the success of current student exchange programs between the two countries and pointed out the importance of careful planning to ensure these exchange programs benefit young people while enabling Ugandan universities to properly accommodate international students.
So we have to think about these programs and plan for them, and it may take some time before we can really be able to do the exchange programs that we know would benefit our own young people and also the others who come from elsewhere. We would like to see our partners come from elsewhere and come and work with our young people at these universities.
The partnership between Uganda's Joint Clinical Research Center and Western University School of Medicine and Dentistry has enabled many students from both institutions to study and train together.
We would really want to work with you more and build these relationships for our young people so that they know that they all have a duty to transform the world as it is for tomorrow. You may find our young people can still make our world a better place than it is right now. So let's explore everything that's doable, and we do what we can in this season of our lives.
The First Lady urged the Western University team to consider expanding partnerships with other Ugandan universities, including Bara University of Science and Technology. Noting its medical school's successful community-based learning approach, Dr. Opio Loya expressed Western University's commitment to strengthening existing collaborations with Ugandan institutions and exploring new opportunities.
We are looking to strengthen, to continue to tighten, and to see what we can do together to collaborate.
Okay.
We think that there is a lot of room and area where we can collaborate, where we can learn, and continue to guide our young people in a good way.
That's right.
We identified East Africa and Uganda in particular as one of the, say, 3 or 4 regions of the world that we are going to focus on. So I've described our visit in camping terms. I don't know if you've ever gone camping, probably not, but...
Reporting for UBC, Baguma William.
And furthermore, the Prime Minister Robin Nabanja this week commissioned the Hoima Regional Blood Bank expected to serve Bunyoro sub-region. Together with the Minister of Health, Jen Ruthacheng, Nabanja urged the people of Bunyoro to appreciate the NRM government for extending such a vital health service to the people of Bunyoro.
In a bid to bring health services closer to the people of Bunyoro, this afternoon, the Prime Minister of Uganda, Robin Nabanja, commissioned the Hoima Regional Blood Bank.
This Regional Blood Bank in Hoima, I have officially commissioned it in my names, Nabanja Robina, Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda. Today, 11th April 2025.
Abantu ba Bunyoro nkwenda musime. Mutere engalo zirani zibulika zibulika. I'm honored to preside over Omusayi Global abateka Omusayi gundi this regional blood bank. Abwakitute paka abantu ba Bunyoro, the people of Bunyoro. Mungire mutere mungalo. Kandi nkubasaba inywe n'abali hano ka kibazo mu Lunyoro muhure mu mutima gwanyu ni musima entasimwe bulakuraki.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you. Earlier, the Prime Minister Robin Nabanja gave a lecture of opportunity to the chief administrative officers of districts, cities and municipalities currently undergoing leadership training at the National Leadership Institute Chankwanzi. She urged them to be patriotic and love their motherland Uganda.
So, loving our motherland is not optional. It's a must. Oyina okuwagala eggwanga lyo. It's a must. And we have a duty, you and me, to jealously regard our country and loyal to your country. And you are expected as a must to promote the well-being of our country. It's a must. You have no choice.
Nabanja also called upon them to fight corruption in their localities, as it is the biggest cancer Uganda is grappling with.
There is a lot of money that we should have collected at the district level. A lot of money is wasted through corruption. How much are they paying the council? The tenderer is paying 3 million. He's collecting 30 and he's paying 3 million to the council. If you're a nationalist and patriotic, could you allow that to go unnoticed? Why must it be the minister of local government to come from Kampala to identify what is your role?
The training, organized by the Minister of Local Government, the Minister Raphael Magezi said corruption in local governments is ranked number 2 in Uganda.
But you must fight corruption. It's mainly because of fast food, money, especially in 2 areas: contracts, the tenders, whether it's roads or water, construction of classrooms, you give health centers and so on. Somebody must put his foot down or her foot down and say, no, I am the administrator here. And sometimes they ask us, why do we transfer you so much? Sometimes it is for your own good. Sometimes also, maybe we take you because you need to strengthen a certain environment somewhere. Breeding a country that will be unmanageable tomorrow. When you translate the dropout rate in our country, 100 pupils starting P1 and only 21 complete P7.
This week, members of parliament expressed mixed reactions to the budget estimates for the presidency, particularly the Office of the President. The Office of the President is seeking funds to enhance the operations of resident district commissioners, RDCs, by constructing office buildings for them to eliminate recurring rental expenses. While some MPs supported the proposal to improve the facilitation of RDCs, others raised concerns over the size and structure of districts. These members called for a reduction in the number of RDCs, describing the current arrangement as excessive. Government also plans to procure 52 vehicles for RDCs in the 2025-26 financial year.
The Parliamentary Committee on Presidential Affairs has presented its report on the budget estimates under the presidency, including the Office of the President and State House. The budget estimates have repeatedly come under scrutiny, particularly regarding the classified expenditures. Presenting the report, Committee Chairperson Alex Biarugaba justified the proposed allocation to mobilize citizens through field offices, including RDCs and Operation Wealth Creation, to drive socio-economic development. The committee noted that out of 147 RDCs, 107 are currently operating from rented premises, 24 are housed by district local governments, while only 15 have offices constructed by the Office of the President. Rental costs now stand at 3.35 billion shillings and continue to rise, rendering the situation unsustainable. Although the government has committed to constructing one RDC office per financial year, the committee criticized the slow pace of implementation.
And here we recommend that the committee recommends that additional Uganda shillings 2.8 billion be availed annually to vote 001 to enable the Office of the President construct at least 5 offices each financial year so as to mitigate the challenge of office space.
Several MPs backed the initiative to improve RDC operations.
In my district, the deputy RDC, the assistant RDC, they want to do their work, but they don't have transport.
I think the number of the RDCs that we have now is enough. For example, for us, we have 4. 4 can traverse the entire district if they are fully facilitated.
However, Nakawa East MP Ronald Balimwezo presented a minority report citing inequalities in the allocation, especially given the size and configuration of some districts.
A case in point,
Wakiso district currently has 5 deputy RDCs, each assigned to oversee a specific area. There is an overall RDC for the district. Furthermore, President recently appointed 5 assistant RDCs.
Some MPs also questioned the qualifications of certain RDCs.
But a case in point, Jinja, for example, has got an assistant RDC who does not even have PLE. What are Ugandans receiving in return? And what training are these assistant RDCs receiving?
Government Chief Whip Hamson Obua responded to the MPs' concerns, defending the RDC's roles and qualifications.
The qualification for a resident district commissioner is any Ugandan qualified to be a member of parliament. The qualification for a deputy resident district commissioner and assistant are not prescribed in that provision.
The report also highlighted the need to upgrade the National Leadership Institute, NALI, in Chankwanzi. The Office of the President has requested 10 billion shillings for development and maintenance. However, only 2.5 billion has been allocated for the 2025-2026 fiscal year, leaving a funding gap of 7.5 billion shillings. Some opposition MPs lamented being excluded from accessing NALI's services.
That have we ever applied to use NALI? Yes, we have ever, but they have never replied us up to now. I have that letter with us at the Secretariat. At a good moment, I'll bring it to your office.
On Tuesday, give me a copy of received letter. Okay?
I think
a received copy.
A received copy.
On Tuesday.
I will bring it to your office,
okay?
Right Honorable
and
Speaker.
And then I'll be able to rule.
If the National Unity Platform, Forum for Democratic Change, would want to access and use that facility, I do not think. Please make the best use of the offices here. The Right Honorable Deputy Speaker is here. I am here. The Right Honorable Speaker is there. You can have your training and you will benefit.
Chief Whip Hamson Obua also defended the inclusion of presidential pledges in the budget estimates.
Presidential pledges are in 2 fronts. There are pledges that fall under the different programs. The president will come to a Lepton. They will say, we don't have a district hospital. And you say, okay. That when a bishop is being consecrated, His Excellency the President provides transport to that bishop. That one is person to holder.
Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gutabinji, UBC News.
And furthermore, improving social services such as health, education, and livestock restocking topped the agenda during the community meeting in Lorengedwat. This followed a community meeting, an announcement that Kaingkong Communal Land Association will receive 800 million shillings from the Ram Excavation Limited, granted permission to extract gravel for the Tapak Lokapel Junction Road, property by Tororo Cement Company Limited. Let's take a look.
In January, leaders and residents of Nabilatuk district and Lorengdwat sub-county raised concerns over illegal gravel mining at Lomuria, Koreang Rock. Some individuals attempted to claim compensation despite the Ministry of Lands issuing a customary land title for Kairikong Communal Land Association. A 13-member team was formed, including district leaders, sub-county officials, and land committee members to engage Ram Excavation Limited.
Going to pay an installment. The first installment will be 200 million, which is going to be paid on the 1st of May this very year. And the other installments will be paid after every 6 months. Each 6 months, the company will be paying 120 million shillings, making up a total of 800 million.
The team secured a 3-year lease deal worth 800 million Uganda shillings. The community welcomed the outcome and proposed using the money to improve services.
I really feel good. So I really hope that when this money comes, they build us at least the LM center, since the other one is very far.
The State Minister for Lands, Dr. Sam Mayanja, has reassured Ugandans that the proposed amendments to the Land Act are aimed at providing relief to Bibanja holders, particularly those who have occupied land for more than 12 years, by granting them the right to obtain the titles without objection. Minister Mayanja made these remarks while closing a two-day consultative conference organized by the Ministry of Lands to collect views and proposals on the planned amendments to the Land Act.
The conference attracted officials from the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, with a core agenda of engaging stakeholders on possible reforms to the current land tenure system. It also drew leaders from several districts, including Chotera, Mityana and Chankwanza, among others, across various administrative levels.
Today here, we have gone through the review of the policy, and a number of issues have come out. The issue of evictions, illegal land evictions, the issue of the land-tenant relationship not being harmonious. We've had the issue of physical planning. People own land, but they have to follow what government tells them to use the land for, and yet some of them are not in agreement with it. There's a very big issue that has come from blue pages. Blue pages are documents in the land registry where owners were recorded, but their land was never surveyed. It was done before, in the early 1930s.
Naomi Kawanda, the acting director and commissioner in the Ministry of Lands, emphasized that the consultative meetings were crucial in shaping the 2023 land policy reforms.
So how many of you have ever seen this document? Because we are now talking about its review. It made 10 years in 2023, and therefore government, led by Ministry of Lands, saw it fit to review it.
Masaka City Mayor Florence Namayanja pointed out that a number of unresolved issues around land need urgent attention.
The review is expected to address these concerns. We as women, we have seen imbalances in land issues. I think those who have been handling.
Minister Mayanja noted that the ministry has now concluded consultative engagements in various regions and is ready to push forward with the reforms aimed at empowering Bibanja holders.
Kakati ekyakalongoosebwamu nti kasita omuntu afuna ekyapo oba district land board negaba ekyapo oba kyaliizo oba kya freehold nga kuliko omuntu tulongoosezaamu ne tusaawa akawairo akawaita 59(1) as amended, Land Act as amended. Nti ekyo district land board bwe kikola ekyapo kyefuna kiba kifu. Transaction is void.
He further stressed that the new amendments will ensure that anyone who has legally occupied public or private land for over 12 years will have the right to acquire a land title without facing objections.
Ne ku mairu, ku lease, ku freehold, kuliko ab'ebibanja abatalina tenancy nenga bali kuli. Ab'ebibanja ebyo babayita legal or bona fide occupancy. Mu mateeka amalala babiyita customary tenancy. Buying security of occupancy.
Other local leaders also shared their views on the proposed reforms.
Most important thing takes us back. Why do we have rampant land evictions, in Uganda, especially in the central? Is it because of the land tenure system that we have? Is it because we don't have existing laws? Is it because people are failing to implement what is the deal or the interpretation of this particular law?
Now, the first thing, the policy is not a popular document in our offices. What we need to do, and I have told them, the facilitators, we need to get this policy straight so that we guide our people accordingly. Otherwise, what we do is contrary to what the policy says. So I've asked them to do a sensitization specifically to the RDCs so that we follow what is right. Otherwise, when we involve our people, when we do mediation, we advise them, sometimes we even write reports, they go to court and then suffer the consequences.
Amwai Vanjuko for UBC.
Women often face heightened vulnerabilities in times of conflict, including increased risks to rape, sexual violence, and other forms of exploitation. This is the story of a refugee in Changwali refugee settlement, who was abducted at a tender age, sexually abused by Mai militias in Kabindi, North Kivu, who fled her country and became a refugee not by choice. Now, these acts have severe physical and emotional consequences, deepening the trauma and displacement caused by conflict. We have a detailed report.
The North Kivu province of Democratic Republic of Congo has endured militia conflicts for decades. Amidst this turmoil, the Mai militia has left lasting emotional scars on countless women.
Wakakufa na kiana moya ikakufa. 4 ladies were all killed and the other one man was also killed. So I was the only one who remained under the stone.
Many have endured rape, sexual violence, and exploitation. The sexual violence inflicted upon women has been brutal, leaving deep physical, social, and psychological wounds.
2014 iwaffe gye tuyita balebeli batusanga ewaka ne bajja ne bankwata ku mpaka nali nyina olubuto nga lwa mwezi 7.
This is the story of Esther, not her real name, raped in front of her children and impregnated by the Mai militia.
Mukunkwata nafuna obuzibu, omwana oyo nanfiira munda era yanfiira mu lubuto. Omwana bwe yamala okunfiira mu lubuto.
They did all this in front of my husband, who was tied to a tree with ropes. After the rape, I lost my pregnancy and had to undergo a surgery to remove the dead body.
Byonna ebyakolebwa mwami wange baali bamukutte nga bamusibye ku muti ogwa ovacado ogwali mu lujja. Awaawo
What hurt me the most was that even my elder children witnessed the brutality.
Nagenda okudda engulu nga ndi mu ddwaliro. Kati bwe namala okuva mu ddwaliro baamunzijamu omwana oyo nga baanongoosezza.
I only recovered after being taken to Rankuba Health Center. It broke me.
A few months later, the Mai struck again. This time, they abducted her, dragging her to the Reunion Forest. It was the commander's turn. She spent 3 days in captivity, raped until she lost consciousness.
Waddako ogw'2015 gwali mwezi gwa 4. Abasatu abo basooka okunkozesa.
3 Mai militias came back and abducted me. On the way to their camp, 3 men raped me. I cried, but there was no help.
Nibankwata nibantwalira mukama waabwe. Oyo omusajja bagenda nibamuntwala naye nali nga ndi bubi kubanga nali maze nabinaku 3.
I spent 3 days in captivity, raped continuously by their commander until I blacked out. By God's mercy, when they went to search for food, I crawled away and escaped into the bush.
This is the story of Esther, not her real name, raped in front of her children and impregnated by the Mai militia.
Nangamba lero tuveewo wano. Kubanga bisuse.
That's when we decided enough was enough. It was time to leave our beloved home and find a place to survive. Depression took hold. I had sleepless nights, filled with trauma and nightmares. Eventually, with our 2 children and my husband, we moved near to Uganda border. A good Samaritan in Kayoweri Bunagana gave us a lift and we crossed into Uganda and we reached Kampala. Life in Kampala was tough. No food, no shelter. But the Catholic and Adventist churches helped us with food and temporary shelter. Because of our refugee status, they advised us to move to a settlement. A church mobilized the funds and we were directed to Changwali refugee settlement. At Changwali, officials received us warmly, registered us, and gave us food and a small shelter.
Esther and other women from Kabindi village in Rushuru continue to bear the scars of Mai conflict in North Kivu, in Eastern DRC. Sexual violence and exploitation have affected many women, now refugees, at Kyangwali refugee settlement.
At the campus health facility, I discovered I was pregnant and wanted from the sexual abuse by the Mai militias. I couldn't believe the pregnancy. I wasn't sleeping with my husband. It was clear this was from the Mai rapists. My husband rejected me and I contemplated suicide. Thanks to TPO's mental health sessions, I'm still alive.
It was a struggle. At first, this lady started shivering, she cried, she was like, I cannot do this. What I did, my focus was now to bring peace at home. I started to discuss with these children, how are they looking at their parents in the future? Would they love to see having one parent the other side and another parent the other side?
Able to provide what we call solution-focused interventions. Interventions such as cognitive behavior therapy, problem management plus. We are able to do interventions such as community outreaches to reach out to these refugees, the forcibly displaced and stateless persons that have reached the refugee settlement.
Through the Office of the Prime Minister, Transcultural Psychosocial Organization TPO Uganda provides community-based mental health services at Kyangwali to support women facing psychological challenges.
Predominant conditions that we have interfaced basically is trauma. Imagine someone coming from Congo, and most of them use Lake Albert via Sebagoro. Imagine the shock of leaving your home country, and then you're on water. That is shock itself. Then you reach Uganda, it has an impact on you, remembering the things that you went through back in Congo.
At Kyangwali Refugee Settlement, TPO Uganda is restoring hope to many lives. They work with other health and social service partners to ensure comprehensive support, assess mental health needs, and implement personalized treatment plans. Haruna Mutesasira, UBC News.
The National Agricultural Research Organization, in partnership with the Eastern African Grain Council, is driving efforts to strengthen Uganda's food systems and promote climate-smart agriculture through its annual Agribusiness Expo held at the National Crops Resources Research Institute in Namuronge. Officiating the event, the Minister for Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Honorable Frank Tumwebaze, emphasized the need for farmers to adopt smart and sustainable agriculture practices to boost productivity and ensure food security.
This year's expo has attracted farmers and stakeholders from across Uganda, highlighting the country's commitment to sustainable agriculture and promotion of regional trade.
Sweet potato, we have orange sweet potato varieties and purple sweet potato varieties, and then have cassava.
Speaking at the event, Frank Tumwebaze underscored the importance of safeguarding grain security and urged farmers to embrace sustainable, climate-resilient farming methods.
So, we are mobilizing a shift in the agricultural sector. We want small people to abandon less profitable enterprises like maize. Because it's not profitable, the 1 acre farmer or 2 or 3 to plant maize. Yet at the same time, as a country, we want urgently to produce more grain. So the question is, how do we balance that? People with large chunks of land must be encouraged, must be incentivized to expand production horizontally.
The Deputy Director General NARO, in charge Agricultural Technology Promotion, Dr. Sadiq Kasim, highlighted the organization's vital role in Uganda's economy through its ongoing promotion of agricultural technologies, calling for continued financial support to advance its research and outreach efforts.
Our budgets for those institutes, Honorable Minister, are very limited. Very, very limited. For an institute like EZADI to work optimally, we need at least a minimum of 3 billion that should be able to go annually. And they should be able to multiply enough, do enough demonstration, and that would contribute to the realization of the gains under the Paris Development Model, the investments under the Paris Development Model. The budgets for now for those institutes are a little bit low. Honorable Minister, I'm aware under Uganda Climate Smart Agricultural Transformation Project, you have suggested a lot of revamping of these institutes across the Nile. But Honorable Minister, we will still lack.
The Director of Research at NACRE, Dr. Titus Alichai, described the Expo as a critical platform for disseminating knowledge, innovations and best practices developed by NARO. He highlighted some of the latest innovations by NARO.
Every year we look to such an event where we can open up the institutes that all our stakeholders can come in and use this platform for learning about improved practices and also the technologies available with us that can change their agriculture. Areas or priority areas, first and foremost, is on breeding and genetic innovations to increase and safeguard production and productivity, and focusing on developing varieties that have better yields.
The Executive Director, Eastern Africa Grain Council, Gerald Masila, stressed the importance of addressing trade barriers across borders to empower entrepreneurs and strengthen regional agribusiness networks.
You can imagine one bag of maize being charged, it becomes like a passage tax. Just because you are passing through a certain area, you are passing through Uganda, you are passing through Bungoma, you are passing through Uasin Gishu, you stopped everywhere and having to be charged at every stop, and there's no value or any service that is being offered by those counties when they stop and charge this, put these charges, and that increases the cost, that makes it expensive for you, the consumer, and that is one of the key things that we are trying to address in trade policy, so that there's only a single permit. If you are doing business, if you are paying one single permit, that is enough. And
the 2025 Expo featured a range of advanced agriculture technologies designed to help farmers increase yields and adapt to the realities of climate change, including improved seed varieties, modern mechanized farming tools, and innovations in animal nutrition. Mary Namkose, UBC News.
President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has commended Bwerangi Girls Senior Secondary School for its insistence on quality education that has enabled it to go beyond a century of service. The president's message was delivered by the local government minister Raphael Majezi on occasion of official opening of the school's St. Paul Chapel. In his message, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who had a stint as a teacher at this institution, contributed 50 million shillings for seats in the chapel at a school where the First Lady Museveni was an old student. Bwerangi Girls Senior Secondary School is one of the most renowned in Uganda and currently houses more than 2,500 learners.
The completion and commissioning of St. Paul Chapel is proof of the school's commitment to raising God-fearing students. In most cases, schools emphasize only academic excellence and neglect the moral and spiritual development of the students. This creates a big problem for the country, because if a person has no moral values and no spiritual values, he or she can easily engage in evil acts such as corruption, embezzlement, nepotism, etc.
Take our appreciation to His Excellency. Not just for what he has done for this country, but for the much effort he has put in the empowerment of women.
Allow me also, guests of honor, that have been invited to this occasion, to thank the government of Uganda, led by His Excellency, supported by Mama, for the support that they have given to this school. This investment in education and spiritual growth will undoubtedly shape generations of younger women into responsible.
Starting from the president, the first lady, going down, all walks of life. So, for us to get this beautiful chapel is to give back to God and the country everything He has done for us. So it's a very big message.
Furthermore, members of the Kampala Central Division have been urged to foster discipline within the council. Eliaza Katawera, the Speaker of Kampala Central Division Council, made these remarks during the council meeting at Fairway Hotel. He urged members of the council to take ownership for their actions and works toward maintaining a positive and respectful environment.
Hotels. I want to thank the committee that represented councillors and the authority to handle this matter.
To thank the President, His Excellency. I would like also to thank the Prime Minister for having come to our rescue wherever we need them. Disaster has been handled, but the challenges we are having, it's not an activity or it's not an issue which comes in a small sector. It's wide, and handling a wider sector is not easy. But as of now, the government has tried. And I would like to conclude by saying I would urge the government to come down to the ground.
Upscale coloros, but you will find someone without any income. We have some people who were having some stores in Owino. I would appeal mainly to our chief elder person, and that is none any other than the president of this country. Our people in Owino, let them be given a special consideration to give them some little money.
And furthermore, Housing Finance Bank this week partnered with PesaPal Uganda to enhance digital payment solutions, driving a cashless economy in Uganda. This strategic move aims to empower small and medium enterprises with seamless, secure and efficient financial solutions. Through integrating PesaPal's innovative payment platforms, businesses will gain access to broader collection channels.
Finance Bank and PesaPal Uganda will see Housing Finance Bank leverage its branch network to help businesses adapt PesaPal's payment solutions, including point-of-sales terminals and e-commerce solutions.
We know PesaPal has about 8,000 merchants, and with our customers, we want to tap into that to drive convenience so that every customer, we're able to delight every customer at every touch point, such that they're able to have convenience, and we are driving a seamless, cashless economy.
The rising demand for secure, seamless and convenient cashless transactions is pushing sector holders to innovate deeper while addressing the bottlenecks.
So many times people prefer to default back to cash transactions. So if government can do something around that, because sometimes it's related to the tax regime, it does sometimes create friction, because every time someone wants to receive or is going to receive mobile payment, they'll add that statement, please add withdrawal charges. That is friction.
This initiative finds Uganda on the upward trend to mirror the global digital payments market, projected to reach $15 trillion by 2027, amidst the current tariff turbulence caused by the USA.
The tariffs, first and foremost, disrupt the supply chain. Because if you look at innovation, most techs depend on different countries to bring different components to build. Let's say even if a phone is, you see a Nokia phone or whatever phone you have, it has different components at a source from different countries. But as we go, at the end of the day, in terms of tariff, you said costs increasing, we're driving convenience.
The new service will be accessible at supermarkets, fuel stations, hospitals and restaurants, among others. Wadulo, Arnold, Mark, UBC News in Kampala.
The Uganda Bureau of Statistics has called upon all heads of institutions to cooperate with their enumerators as it conducts the education baseline survey. This was in Jinja, the eastern part of the capital, and UBOS is currently doing the survey across the country to enhance high standards of product.
This work together with the Ministry of Education and Sports, and the reason is to ensure that the Bureau can generate quality statistical information and data to support the education sector, to support planning for the education sector, support policy decisions, support evidence-based decision making by monitoring the activities, the learners, the teachers, the facilities that are established in these institutions. We want to call upon all the heads of institutions, education institutions, primary, pre-primary, university and tertiary institutions, all to cooperate with our enumerators who will be visiting these institutions and ensure that they are given accurate information.
Due to increasing population pressure and land fragmentation in the Bugisu and Bukedi sub-regions, residents are now turning to urban farming as a visible alternative, or rather viable alternative, to ensure food security and socio-economic transformation. Mbale City Production Officer Dr. George Mangeni says that land is becoming scarce in eastern Uganda, and he notes that leaders are now recommending urban farming, which requires only small plots of land where urban settlers can also grow short-term crops for both domestic and commercial use.
Eastern Uganda being widely regarded as Uganda's food basket, various factors, chief among them rural to urban migration in search of better opportunities, have increased population pressure in urban centers, contributing to food insecurity.
Initially it would be the food from here to Kenya, but now if we are having horticultural crops, Kenya with about 14% of farming land, providing horticultural crops to Mbale City, there's a problem here.
As a remedy, leaders in Mbale City and other urban areas in the region are encouraging residents to embrace urban farming as means of boosting food availability.
We are now trying to arm ourselves to standard to prioritize urban farming, because now that is the way to go because of reduced land sizes. So we are promoting urban farming.
Juma Uwepukulu, also known as Uncle Farmer, is an urban farmer in Northern Division, Mbale City. He left his job as a hotel manager to focus on farming, and he says he has no regrets.
For me, I'm not looking for that title of manager, but I want to be a director of my own. That's why I opted to start up this kind of a project. And remember, when I was studying, I used it to cultivate. And this farming is the one which educated me.
A section of urban dwellers told us that stiff competition for resources in urban areas forced them to utilize small spaces around their rental homes for farming, and now they are reaping big.
Those days they used to tell us that enkumbi terimba, and very few people believe that enkumbi terimba. But to the few who believe in it, indeed it does not lie. So what I would say is, for me, looking at these neighbors whom I'm neighboring, who cannot rely on enkumbi, and me, I'm already lying on Enkumbi. Why not grow rich? Why not get money?
Byambyeko family yaffe. Bino ebintu ntundako ne tusavingako ne tusasulirako abaana fees agenda kumalayo ennaku eziwerako.
So I opted to do it because I wanted the direct business with our consumers.
This form of farming mainly focuses on vegetable growing using items like polythene bags, tins and buckets as garden containers. Farmers in this space also claim that crops offer medicinal value to their clients like Olivia.
When you go to hospital, a doctor diagnoses you with a certain sickness. And the first thing a doctor tells you is go and look for greens. The doctor doesn't tell you that go and look for meat or go and look for chicken to eat. But he only tells you go and look for fruits and vegetables. So to me, I say that I think this vegetable here is medicine.
Some urban farmers shared that they have also transformed members of their communities, especially those who buy from them by training them on how to start similar farms.
Some of them, they come and buy these spring onions. But we advise them, why can't you take even a seedling also, you just put in a polythene paper? There are others who complain that their landlord and landladies, they don't allow such things in their compound. But there are others who has embraced it and they have bought, they always go and also plant.
Thanks to the new lower secondary school curriculum, learners are now applying practical skills to tackle urban food insecurity. This has been embraced by some school administrators.
People want to eat. The land has reduced. So what we have done as a school, I've talked to my teachers of agriculture to begin a new method of teaching learners basing on the new curriculum. Most especially by introducing the small farms at school, where children can be trained to grow vegetables like onions, sukuma wiki, cabbages, and so many others.
According to Bunyoro Samson, an agriculture teacher at St. Mary's SS Kapisa, households that once struggled to access food and vegetables are now being supported by students who creatively use small spaces at home to grow what is needed.
We can use the limited space to produce more crops, especially green vegetables. When we use this one, someone can plant crops here to this level, to this level, to this level, can produce for home use as well as for sale.
These students say that in a world where job opportunities are scarce, they are learning to make productive use of even the smallest available spaces in their communities, earning a sustainable living in the process.
If you embark on the agriculture we carry out, which is modern technology we use, you can grow crops and sell, and you pay for yourself the money that is required at school.
Farmers in eastern Uganda say the beauty of urban farming is that customers can visit the farm, choose fresh produce, and be assured of quality and hygiene. On top of that, the prices are affordable.
Thank you very much, Jethro Kasaiji, for that beautiful piece. And that brings us to the end of our weekly news roundup edition of the UBC Lunchtime News. Thank you very much for being a lovely audience. Do stay tuned for more news in our subsequent bulletins. My name is Wadulo Arnold Mark.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.